I'm Tom from the Physics Classroom with another video from our Task Tracker tutorial series. In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to find the scores for various tasks inside of Task Tracker and how to interpret some of the details associated with those score reports. Let's get started. I'm logged into Task Tracker and I'm on my classes page, and I want to view the scores for my Period 1 physics students. So I'm going to tap on the eyeball to view the class. There I will see the various topics for which I've assigned tasks within Task Tracker. I'm looking for a concept builder assignment called acceleration that is found in the one-dimensional kinematics section of our website. So I'm going to tap on the eyeball to view that topic, and I'm going to look for the acceleration task. There it is. I'm going to tap the eyeball to view details about the acceleration task. When I do, I'll see how it is set up. I'll notice that I have at the bottom of the page my roster. There's 3 students in my class, and there I see the scores for my students. Now, if you're wondering where those scoring points come from, well, I've set this task up to be a 10-point assignment, and 1 point is rewarded for a student completing all the requirements of the assignment. And as you can see here, 3 points are rewarded for completing each part of the assignment. So if I look at James Doe, James has a 10 for 10 for 1 point for completing all the requirements and 3 points for completing each of the 3 parts. Noah Formula has a 6 for 10. If I want to find out some details about why Noah has a 6 for 10, I can click on the Activity View tab above the roster. That takes me to my preferred way of viewing scoring reports. There I see the 3 parts of the concept builder listed, and I'll notice trophies next to each in the column of each part that has been completed by that student. Here's Noah Formula with his 6 for 10, and he did not complete the last part of the assignment. Since each part is worth 3 points, he gets 3 points for the first part, 3 points for the second part, to give him 6 points out of 10. And since Noah did not complete the entire assignment, he doesn't earn the 1 point of completion points. There's a third tab view of the score reports, and that's the full view. I don't use it that often, and you can see why if you tap on it, but there is a reason that you would want to use it. When you tap on the full view, you'll see all your students listed, and you'll see a time-stamped information about when they completed each part of that assignment. If you end up running into a situation where a student says, "There's no way I should be penalized for being late, I know I finished it on time," well, now you have some very unbiased information about when the assignment was actually completed. It's logged over here in our database and presented in the last column when it was completed on. Now, if you wish to change something about the way this assignment is scored, you can do it quite easily. At the top of this page is the edit icon. If you were to tap on that edit icon and maybe you're saying to yourself, "I don't like that completion point being 1. I'm going to make it 0, and I'm going to make the assignment worth 9 points instead of the 10 points, 3 points for each of the parts being completed. I'll submit and save that, and then go back to the task page. And when I do, I'll notice the scores have been updated, and there's Noah Formula with a 6 for 9. He doesn't lose any completion points because there are no completion points. Score reports for concept builders and science reasoning center activities look very similar to one another. But when it comes to Minds on Physics and Physics Interactives with Concept Checker activities, there'll be some extra details that we need to discuss. I'm back on my class page for Period 1 Physics, and I'm going to look at a Minds on Physics assignment inside of the kinematic graphing area. It's Mission KG1. When I tap on the View icon, I will see the various question groups in this 8-question group mission, and I'll see my roster at the bottom with the total scores for my students in the Quick View section of the scoring reports. Now I'll notice that Noah Formula has a 6.25 out of 10. That's because this is a 10-point assignment and there's 8 question groups, and there's 0 completion points. So all 10 points are distributed equally among the 8 question groups, meaning each question group is worth 10/8 of a point, or 1.25 points. Noah's answered 5 of them correctly, thus the 6.25 out of 10. Nothing new here, but when I look at the activity view, I'm going to see some icons that are different than what we've seen previously. So let's discuss these icons. First, the X over here in the column of question group 8 means that Noah Formula never did answer this question correctly. Now, the way Minds on Physics works is it delivers questions to you, it evaluates your answers. If you get it right, a progress bar goes up. If you get it wrong, a health bar goes down. And so it's possible that your health bar could go down to 0% before your progress bar goes up to 100%, and you would have to start over. So we're communicating some history of completion here in this little score report. You'll notice the grayed out trophy means that Noah Formula has answered question 5 and question 7 correctly, but it was not during their best effort. Noah Formula seems to have actually done this at least twice, and on one of the attempts, he did get those questions delivered, and he did get them right, but his progress bar did not get to 100% before his health bar went down to 0, and he had to start over. You'll also notice that there's these trophies with an orange background, and the trophy is a little grayed out. That means that during Noah's best attempt, he answered question group 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 correctly, but did not answer question group 5, 7, or 8 correctly before his health bar went down to 0. So Noah Formula's best score was a 6.25 points out of 10 for getting these 5 questions correctly. In the case of the other 2 students, the first and the third student, we notice the icon being a black trophy with an orange background, and that indicates that those students completed those question groups correctly on their best attempt. The last feature to discuss is the calculator pad, for there's some details about the scoring reports for calculator pad that are not found in Concept Builders or Minds on Physics. So I'm on my course page and I'm going to open the calculator pad topic, and I'm looking for the scoring reports for set K6. Once those open, I'll see scores at the bottom of the page in the roster section. And what I want to do is first look at the quick view, because there's a column over here called attempt penalty. When you set up a calculator pad assignment, you can give a limit on the number of attempts. You can also say something like 10 attempts allowed, but after the 6th attempt, you're going to get penalized 20%. If you choose to do that, then we'll show the attempt penalty in this column right here. If you choose not to do that, it'll just simply be a 0. Now, if I go to the activity view, that looks a little bit different. You'll see a star for any problem that was fully answered correctly. You'll see an X for any problem that was never answered correctly. And then you'll see a star that is half filled if a part of a multi-part problem was answered correctly. Now, the full view of calculator pad has a lot of details that we haven't seen because there's a row for each student's problem and problem part within that problem set. So you'll notice for James Doe, there's several rows here since there's several problems, and a couple of the problems are multi-part problems. One thing that you'll notice is there's now a number of attempts column in the scoring report. So here James Doe has had 4 attempts and happened to have gotten it correct on the 4th attempt. But for problem number 5, the first part, you'll notice that there were 4 attempts made and James Doe never got that problem correct. So there's an extra column called attempts, and then finally, if a student has an excessive number of attempts and you've set up an attempt penalty, you'll see a yes over here in the attempt penalized column. Now in the calculator pad, there's a 4th view of scores and reports. It's the feedback view. Now, the feedback view contains average data for all of the students in your class. Now, I only have 3 students in this class, so the feedback view is not very useful. But if I had 25 students in my class, this averaged or aggregate view of that particular assignment could be a quite useful thing as a 3 to 4 minute scan for a teacher before going to class. You'll notice there's a row for each problem and problem part. Problem number 5 has 2 parts, so problem 5 actually has 2 rows. There's a column called average number of attempts. So we're envisioning that a teacher before going to class may want to look at the number of attempts per problem. And if they see an excessive number of attempts on one of the problems, perhaps that problem would be something that they would want to talk about before the class ends. There's a allowed number of attempts, if you set it, the number of students who got each problem correct. So if you see low numbers there, that is again an indicator that the students had difficulty with that particular problem. You'll also notice the students attempted but didn't complete, and the students failed would mean that if you set a maximum number of allowed attempts and they used all their attempts, you'd get a number there for the number of students who used up all of their attempts. Could be an indicator that maybe you'd like to increase the number of attempts, or simply an indicator that students are having great difficulties on that particular problem. Finally, you'll see a column for the number of students who did not actually attempt a particular problem. As you can see, finding scores inside of Task Tracker is easy to do, but more importantly, Task Tracker offers some details in its reports on tasks that allow teachers to identify student difficulties, provide remediation and correction, and optimize the learning of their students. I'm Tom from the Physics Classroom, thanking you for watching.